I'm going to explain how you're going to do the horizontal shift, and I'm going to do a rational function, or sometimes you can hear it called as the inverse function. So once again, just like yesterday and the day before, we're going to take this equation that I gave you and we're going to type it into DESMOS. So I'm going to bring up DESMOS. Go to graphing calculator, and I'm going to type this in. So I'm going to use this key. We have f of x is equal to 1 divided by, and I did x minus 4. So x, there's our original parent function, minus 4. All right, so there is the new function. So I want to copy the link, so I'm going to go to my share graph, copy my link, and I'm also going to export the image so I can paste that in there and download it. All right, so I'm going to close that out. Go back to this. I'm going to paste my link in there for this function. And then I'm going to go ahead and input that picture. So go to upload from computer, make sure it's in downloads, go down to the DESMOS graphs, and like before I have lots of them. So I believe it's this last one I put in there, and that's it. So I'm going to put that in there. All right, so now you can see the two graphs. Let's check what the y-intercept and x-intercept is. So I'm going to go back to the DESMOS graph. It will be easier to see. All right, so here's my my x-axis, and it looks like it doesn't cross anywhere. So that's still none. But let's look at the y-axis here. Well, it looks like it crosses right here, and I can click on that, and then I can see the point is 0 and negative 0.25. So I'm going to put that in there. So I'm going to go back to my function, type in none for the x-intercept, and my y-intercept was 0, negative 0.25. Close that parenthesis because it's a point. Okay, so what is the difference between the two graphs? That's what I want to know. If it's hard to see here, you can go back to DESMOS. Type in your original function. So f of x, which equals 1 divided by x in my case. Remember, your function is different. So if I look at the blue line versus the red line, what do I notice? Well, the thing I can notice is it's moved to the right, and it looks like 4 units. So the blue graph has moved 4 units to the right, and that's what I'm going to write in here. So my function, and I'm just going to type in the function here, 1 divided by, and I'm going to put parentheses so I remember this is on the bottom. Oh, and I see above it said plus 4. I'm just going to type in minus 4 because that's what I did in my graph. Has shifted or moved 4 units to the right. Well, let's see what happens if it would have done if it was a plus 4. So let's go back to DESMOS. Let's just change this to a plus 4 in here and just see. Plus 4 looks like that I moved 4 units to the left. So we can just write the whole thing again. If my function one divided by x plus 4 would shift or move 4 units to the left. So what I do notice though too is that with the plus you would think it would go to the right because all the numbers that are positive go to the right, but it doesn't. It's the opposite. So just something to be aware of. So when you're adding something to your x, it's going to do the opposite of what you think it will. Or if you're subtracting something from your x, then it will go in the opposite direction. So that's the big difference. So looking at this one up here, my prediction, so that f of x equal to 1 divided by x minus 3 would be it shifts to the right because it's negative 3 units. And that's what my prediction would be. And I mean, you can test it out. You can go back to DESMOS and look at it, put a new function in here. Now I'm going to bring up the keyboard. Equals 1 divided by x, and we said minus 3. And so what happened with the green one from the blue one? It did shift, right? It shifted, and we went 3 units to the right, and that's what I predicted. So you can play around with that and see what happens. Put different numbers in there and see what's going on.